No. Okay. All right. Hold on. I'm just building up the courage to do the intro. All right. Jesus Christ. You said what?
What are you talking about?
Okay, so, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first podcast. There's no name for it yet. But today, our guest is DP Sam ABEN. Now, Sam has no idea what is happening right now.
No, I don't.
But you're part of the podcast now. You're the first guest coming in telepodcasting.
Are you streaming right now?
We're not streaming. We are recording. So, for the past 15 minutes, I put Sam on hold, and I set up the camera, I set up the microphone, and I set up my little table here.
Okay.
With a cup of water.
Yeah, I heard it.
So Sam asked me... Okay, so we shot a short film recently called STDs, and that was like... Was that last week?
Was it? That's crazy if it was just last week.
I think it was last week.
Maybe 2 weeks ago? Maybe it was last week.
I think it was last week. It felt like a while. Holy crap.
I think it was last week.
Yeah, I think it was last week, bro. Fucking A. Okay. But yeah, so we shot this thing last week, and you were asking me, the inspo. Well, because I mentioned that I told actress Indy Bhaskar, I told her this backstory, and she was like, wait, why didn't I know the backstory? I was literally like the DP, director of photography. So I was like, all right, you know what? Well, to tell what I'm about to tell today, which I called you about, I didn't call you about it, but I was going to tell you, that story requires the previous story, which is the basis of the short film. You know what was funny?
Okay.
So when I told Indy, about, like, the whole whatever, she was like, why didn't you make this the short film? And I was like, bruh. Okay, so, anyways, yeah. Without giving names, we're going to go through this, and I'll try and keep things secretive, sort of.
Okay. You're literally the biggest overshare I've ever met.
You said me?
Yeah.
See, now I don't want to tell it.
No, I want to know. I'm an overshare. I match people's energy.
Manipulator. Alright, anyways. So... Okay, so we matched with this girl on Tinder, right? Things were going good. We're just rizzing her up, you know what I'm saying? And we're talking with her, and then we FaceTime a little bit, and she's like, hey, yo, come over. I'm like, a word? But I was a little sussy at the time, right? I was like, I don't know. So I was like, you know what we can do? We could, I made up like okay, all right. You know what? I made up a fake little, like, story, right? Where I was like, hey, yo, like, I was like, my friend, like, he just, like, I don't know, he tested positive for, like, whatever, right? And, no, this is like a year ago. I was like,
wait, you've known this girl for a year?
I don't know how long it's been.
Yeah, okay.
It was like,
there's no way.
This is like January.
Oh, okay.
This felt like a while. But anyways, right, so I'm like, yeah, he tested positive for, like, this thing, and, like, I don't know, I ate some of his food, and, like, it transfers by saliva, so, like, I don't know, I can't really, like, I don't want to do anything, you know? And she was like, yeah, and I was like, but, like, and you know the line, it's in, yeah.
You said that, or she said that?
I said that. Anyways.
Okay.
So I go over, right? This is straight in Baltimore at like 12 a.m. I'm like, hey, yo. I'm like sweating, bro. I'm like freaking out because, like, I don't like I hadn't gone to the city a lot before then, so I was
Mhm.
on that little. So anyway, so I get there and I'm like, no way, bro. I'm like, yo, if some dude pops out, I'm ready. You know what I mean? So like, anyway, so I go over to her door and it's like her and stuff. I'm like, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right, look cool. So she takes me up into her room, bro. She's got like the purple LED lights. She's got like some like Arctic Monkeys or some shit playing or something. You know what I mean? Straight
Yeah,
action.
I know. I know exactly what you. Yeah.
Right. Anyways, so it goes down, and then she's trying to get a little crazy, right? And I'm like, baby, like my boy had like and whatever, right? And but then right then I think I said something else. I forget what it was, and she was like, "Oh, wait a minute! Like you were trying to suss me out. I was trying to suss you out." Like, and I was like, "Okay, so we're on the same kind of like time. We were both trying to like suss each other out, right?"
Mhm.
So, anyways, I don't know what else happens that night. That's too much for the intro. Just go on, right? It's a little thing, going over to her house, and this is during the semester, right? So then things start going
Mhm.
crazy, like with just school work, and then going over to her house like late at night, like after everything, and starts turning into this like little something, like almost a something, and then she talks about this like ex that she has, who she's like pretty much in love with. And she's like, I was like, you can't change people, da, da, da. And she's like, well, I've been trying to change this person for like the last 5 years or whatever. I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, yo. So she like keeps him around and they like do things, but like they don't like they're not like together kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah,
like,
that makes sense.
I was like, that's kind of crazy. But I was like, you know what? Like, I'm not like, I can't do it. You know what I mean? I'm not like
Mhm.
her boyfriend. You know what I mean? So I'm like, but anyways, so then um I couldn't I like she was just like still like getting with other people and stuff, and I was just like, I don't know if I can do all this. Like this is kind of crazy. And this is the one thing that was crazy too. She told me, she was like we're doing our thing, right? And she told me, she was like, I love you, in the middle of it, right? So I paused for like 5 seconds. I don't know what to say, bro. And then I'm like, I say it back, right? Because I'm like, what else am I gonna say? Like I can't,
Yeah.
I can't not say it. So, and then we just go like back and forth, right? And then I was like, I convinced myself in that moment, I think, that I actually meant it. Like I was like, yo, like
Mhm.
we're sending it. You know what I mean? I was like, this is what I
Yeah.
wanted. This is what I've been looking for. Like, boom, full dive. And then afterwards, guess what she tells me?
I know what she said.
Right. She says, I just say that so that like I can get myself like going, right?
Which
And
is that's so fucked. I mean, like, I don't.
like if she told me beforehand, right? If I had like a warning, that would have been cool. But like afterwards is crazy, bro.
Well, I mean, you know what I'm gonna say. You
What?
already know what I'm gonna say because I've just been saying it the whole time.
Well, yeah, yeah, yeah. But okay, let me continue. All right.
Okay, okay, okay.
Okay. So then, I don't know. There's not really like it's just like I feel like I was doing like a lot to like keep things afloat because in my head like it was like a semi like relationship thing, but she would say like I love you like as a person, like a friend kind of thing. So
Mhm.
like I don't know, that's on me. I was in a different reality, bro. And then one time I'm like, hey, you guys want to go out to like a diner or whatever? Because I like diners, right? Like I like food. I
Yeah.
was trying to eat. So we go to this diner, and um, I felt like she was being like a little rude to the waiter. To this day, she would be like, I was not being rude to the waiter. Da, da, da. And I was like, I don't know. I felt like it was a little, but she was just saying like the food was like ass and stuff and da da da. And I was just like, I don't know. I don't think it was about the waiter, right? So because like at this point, I couldn't remember if she had told me if she was still doing things with her ex or not. So I brought them both out, and I was like, all right, I need to see a reaction from him to see like if she's lying to me or lying to him.
You did that?
So this is at like 12 at night, and I ask the dude, I was like, yo, when was the last time you guys like had sex? And she was like looking at me like, yo, she was like angry. And I asked her later, and she was like looking at, she was trying to say like, yo, don't do this here, like da da da, because it's like supposed to be
Mm-hmm.
private, da da da. And I was like, bro, I do not care. Like, I need an answer, because like, why are you like so like friendly with all these other dudes? Like, why like, am I just like another like guy to you, kind of thing?
Yeah.
So, um, it's like mega tense, right? And then like it just escalates, and she gets mad, and she's like, "Yo, get the fuck out of here!" Da da da. I'm
What did
like,
he? Wait. What did he say?
"What did he say?"
Yeah.
He was like,
Or she didn't let him answer.
"No, I think he looked to her, and I think she was.
Oh,
I think he looked to her. He was like gonna say something, and she was like, "That's none of your business."
that's even worse.
And then I was like, "Okay, it is my business. Like, I don't know. I want to know, but I didn't. I don't know if I. I think I might have thought that. Maybe I didn't say it. I don't know. I was kind of I was on the edge, but I was like angry, but I was also like I don't want to like I don't want to go.
Yeah.
So like, anyways, I
I mean, you're right. You guys really weren't dating.
right, but like for me personally, like the way I felt, I was just like, dude, I'm not gonna be treated like just like one of this person's like
Yeah, that's how I kind of felt with my situations. Like, obviously, we're not dating, but I feel like I deserve to know. I like, deserve to know what's happening, how you think of me. Because when there's like no communication, that's what fucking sucks.
right. So yeah, I leave the diner, and I'm like, yo, this is the last time. Like this is it. Like it's done. So I'm driving back. I'm like, and this is the thing with me. Like whenever something crazy starts happening, my immediate like instinct is like, all right, keep it cool. Like don't fucking crash the car, bro. Like just drive home, sit. You know what I mean? Like, cause
Yeah.
that's what people do, bro. When things that are crazy happen, people like freak out, and then they lose focus of what they're doing, and then boom.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
nah, bro, focus up. Just get to the house. So I got to the house. I park. And I'm like, all right. I called up McKenna. I told him, and yeah. So anyways, that's what happens there. And then it's probably like a month or so, and then like nothing. And then she texts. Actually, I might have texted her, but after like a month or so, she texts me, and she's like, "Hey, I'm having this party like this weekend, right?"
That's the
And
same night as my party, right?
yes, it's the same weekend as Sam's party, Sam's birthday party. So I was
My
like,
birthday party.
right, I was like, God damn it, Sam, why is this the same? But no, so I was like, you know what? All right, let's be a good human. So I go to Sam's, have a good time. It was really fun, and I was like, I was good. Like I was focused. I was just enjoying myself, and then I was like, all right, now it's time to enter the dungeon. so so I leave Sam's party, and I go whip out, drive over to her house, and as soon as I get there, I'm like walking up to the door, and I'm just like, you already, you know that feel. You're like, yo, like, what's about to go
Yeah, what the fuck
down?
am I doing?
Oh,
Yeah.
exactly. So I get in. I'm just like walking around. She's like, "Hey, Alex," she comes and gives me like a big hug and everything. And I'm like, "Okay."
Wait, this is the first time you guys have seen each other, like, or even, like, talked in a while?
Mm, there might have been things in between there,
Okay.
like maybe like one or two times.
Okay.
But yeah. So I go over, and like I just like I don't know. I just say hi to like people, whatever. Like shake some hands. I go to shake this one guy's hand, and he was like, "Nah, you don't get no dap from me, bro." And I was like, what? And he was like, nah, bro. Like, she told me like all that shit you were saying about me. Like, keep it moving, man. Like, it's a party. And I was like, okay. I was like, okay. So I'm like,
This
yeah, I'm not.
doesn't matter.
So I'm like, I'm not trying to fight this dude, bro. Like, so I keep walking, and then she comes over and she grabs me. She pulls me up, and she's like, yo, what's going on with you and him? And I'm like, ah. And like, okay, so what did happen was he was over there one night. He's like another one of like her friends, right? And
Mm-hmm.
because I'm like just sussed out about it, I'm like, I don't like they literally both just drink together, and like they're both like just like so wasted. And I was like, in my head, right? I'm like, why is this dude coming over and just like drinking with her and just like hanging out here? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, the suspect. So that's what I said to her. And then she was like, okay, okay, okay. So she brings us both outside, and him and he looks at me, he's like, yo, I'm gonna tell you straight up, and I'm not from the suburbs, but like, around here we don't do it like that. You can't say shit and just be cool with somebody. So I'm like watching him, I'm like listening. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I look out for this girl. Like, I care about her. So that's all, right? Like, I don't
You
know
said that
you.
or you said that?
I said that. Like, I was like, yeah, I was like, I don't know you. Like, that's all it was. And he was like, she, she was like, she was like, see, like, you just needed to like hear that. Like, you needed to hear it from like you talking about like me saying that. And he was like, all right, you can get your dap now. All right. So we shake hands and we go back in and like, I don't know, just continue carrying on, right? And I'm gonna speed this up a little bit because it's taking a bit. But anyway, so we go.
Okay.
I go up to the bathroom, right? Because I'm like, all right, I need to just take a little breather, right? So I go to the bathroom. She comes in, she takes a piss in front of me, and I'm like, okay, it's actually kind of like it's okay. No, well, never mind. It's kind of like a normal thing, but like, still.
Yeah.
Um. Anyways, so I'm like talking with her, and she's like, I would have kicked like anybody out of here, but like it's you, so it's fine. And I'm like, okay, like, and she's like, why'd you come? And I'm like, you invited me. And she's like, well, I didn't like invite
Mhm.
you, but like, I was like, you told me that you're having a party on Saturday. And she was like, well, yeah. I was like, so you missed me? And she was like, yeah. and then,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then,
But
so
okay, but hold on. I'll let you finish, but also I'm gonna put my 2 cents in. But go ahead.
put your 2 cents in.
Well, from what you've told me about this girl, it's like she has a lot of guys around her that she is sleeping with. And I don't, obviously, like, okay, yeah, she did miss you, yes. But I think she also missed, like, you not chasing after her anymore. And when, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And she kind of needs, like, that validation. Does that make sense?
I see it.
Like the fact that she does have all these guys that are interested in her and she won't settle down, to me tells me like, oh, it's because she needs multiple people going for her, and when they realize that she's not worth it, then. But I don't know her. I do not know her, but that from the outside perspective, that's what it looks like for me.
I will
And also,
say,
you are my friend, so I'm gonna be looking out for you.
thank you, thank you. I will say, to her defense, she like has told me that like she doesn't actually do anything with like a lot of people, and she just is like close like that like, with her guy friends. And I found it
You
kind
believe her?
I find it kind of strange. I don't know, but that's not like, if she's lying, then okay, that's still on her. If she's telling the truth, then okay.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
Well,
but
no, I get it. I mean,
yeah. So, anyways, um, well, let's continue. So she gets in the
okay.
shower, right? And she looks at me and she's like come in, and I'm like, bruh, I'll get in with my clothes on.
You
And she was like no, like, and I was like, she's like, why you always be weird like about this stuff? I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, we're just being human. And I was like, okay.
like,
So
oh, oh, okay, go,
so
go.
I get in, right, no clothes, and I'm like, I'm not like doing anything, right? And then she starts to try doing something. I'm like, no, 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 stop that. And then she's like,
Mhm.
okay. Then she's like, all right, wait right here. She goes out, and it's like 10 minutes go by. It feels so long, and she doesn't come back. I'm like, yo, like, I'm still in the shower. You know what I mean? Like, it's running. I'm like, bro, what is going on? So, so like, I go out, right? I'm like, fuck this shit. So I go out, and I see her like sleeping on her bed. And I'm like, hey, yo, like, it's like soaking wet and everything. I'm like, bro. So I go and I turn off the shower. I get a bunch of towels. I put it everywhere, and I dry everything up. And then I covered her with some blankets because she was just like fucking soaking wet in the bed. I was like, bro, you're gonna fucking freeze. So do all that, and then I go to sleep in the bed. Wake up. She's like, why am I like naked? I'm like, all right, we didn't have sex. Cool it. And she's like, what are you like? I'm like, and then I explained like everything that happened last night and such because she didn't remember. And that was pretty much that. Then that was the day I was like, I'm gonna start a documentary on this girl because, why not? It was a good documentary. Lots of ups and downs at least. So I was like,
I don't know.
So anyways, so I start just like recording like her. There's some people still left over from the party that are there hanging out. So I start recording her and everything and like taking pictures and everything. That's pretty much like how that goes. And so it was good, right? And then leave. I get home. I text her and like no response. And I'm like, all right, bro, I'm not doing this like ghosting, no text, no reply thing anymore. So next day after work, I drive straight over, and there's
Yeah, you're unhinged.
still people from the party. That's not unhinged. Still people from the party, okay? And like they remembered me, right? So they just like let me in. So I go in, I go upstairs, and I find her and like her friend. I'm like, yo, and she's like, what he like? Oh, her friend is like, what's he doing here? And she's like, oh, it's because I didn't text him back. And I was like, yeah, um, can we talk? Like kind of thing. And she's like, yeah, I'm like doing something like da da da. And I'm like, okay. So that's when I sit down and I read the self esteem book. Have I told you about the self esteem book?
A little bit.
All
The
right.
5 pillars or whatever.
6 Pillars of Self Esteem by Nathaniel Brandon. So I always,
6?
huh?
What did you say?
Six.
Oh, 6. Okay, never mind.
Six.
No, yeah, go on.
6 Pillars of Self Esteem. So I've been reading it just like in my off time. Like, dude, there was a great day where we had hour and a half lunch for work. So I get out of Amazon, go to Chipotle, or actually it was Kava. Get my Kava, eat my Kava while reading, and then go back to work. It's such a nice just like break, like alone time for myself. But so yeah, I'll pull this thing out whenever I like want it or need it or anything like that. And so I pull it out, and the first like thing that I read is like self esteem is like about like asking questions, right? That's like the first sentence in that like page, and it was just talking about how like self esteem is like there's people that like they act like they cannot exist in the space that they occupy, like they curl in, like they're like they don't look up, they don't look around, like they don't have the right to look around, they don't have the right to like know, they don't have the right to ask questions, right? So I read that, I put the thing down, and I'm like, hey, how long are you gonna be working on your thing for? And she's like, well, it's kind of important, like it's for like job like work stuff, and I need to do it, like I can't give you like my full attention right now. I'm like, all right, can you give me like 15 minutes? And she's like, okay. So like I ask her, like I'm like, okay, so like are we good, like are like you mad at me, like I we talk about the diner like and everything, and I'm just like like what's going on, like pretty much. And she's like, yeah, I had like romantic feelings for you at one point, like yeah, Alex, like could have like da da da. And then after the diner thing, like nah, like once I see that in a person, like I'm done, you know. And I was like, see what in a person, like what, like kind of thing internally, you know what I mean? Like I was like,
Yeah.
I don't think I did anything like that was like crazy bad, like
Mm, I mean, putting someone. A lot of people do not like confrontation, and putting her on the spot like that with him, because she probably knew that,
she took it
You know
that
what I mean?
she took it that I was trying to like get at him and make him feel embarrassed, and I can like see that, but that wasn't my intention, you know.
Hmm.
Um, but anyways, so she says all that, and I'm like, okay, so like, what do you see me as? And she's like, you're like a friend, like da da da. And then me, I was like, dude, I was fully convinced, like in my head, like I will admit that, like I was fully convinced. I was like, I saw like a future, like everything, like da da da, like
Hmm.
I want this, I want like you. And I started crying, and she's like, kind of indifferent. She's like, oh, I'm breaking your heart, like kind of thing. Like she
Yeah.
said that. She's like, oh, I'm breaking your heart. and I peeked at a difference. I'm like, okay, I know this because I've seen it myself, so I know how like she feels. So I'm like, all right. So I leave. I take that picture outside her house. Right after that, you saw it. I posted on my
What
Instagram.
what
There's a picture.
picture?
There was a picture on my. I'll send it to you. But there's a picture on my
Okay.
Instagram where as after that happened, like after I was like crying like my eyes out, I left. I was like, all right, my business is done here. So then I put my phone like on my car wheel. I took the picture and then I left. I drove home. And so that all happens. And then the next like day, pretty much, I'm like, I feel free. Like I feel better. I was like, all right,
Oh
finally,
yeah,
I'm glad
for
that
sure.
happened. And um, yeah, I don't know. I was just like super like deluding myself. Like reality came. Like I came back to reality, kind of thing. You know.
Mhm.
Anyways, so all right, let me. Holy shit! I gotta go through the full story here. Okay, so that's gonna be girl number one. Okay, so check this out.
Okay, well, after you're done talking, now I have to spill all mine too. So
You
you need to
do.
get ready for that.
Uh,
Off camera though, I can't tell you while you're recording me.
oh my. All right, we'll do that off camera. So let me just.
Okay.
I'll finish with my story, and that'll be like I guess the episode.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So, because don't let me forget, I gotta wrap it back around. How much time do I have left
You tell me.
before you leave?
Oh well, I'm leaving. I have reservations at like 7:30.
What the
For
fuck?
now.
All right, I got this.
Yeah, we're good.
All
We're
right,
good.
cool. Okay, so check this. So, then, um, I'm like, all right, I need to be like alone, right? So I go
Mhm.
alone for like probably like a month, and it was fantastic. Like, I do these things like where I learn for like a month, feels great, and then I'm done with it. But anyways, that month was
Yeah.
fantastic. Felt really good working on myself, just working, doing the book, existing, doing other things. Then matched with this other girl, and similar archetype. All right, it's the emo alt.
Mhm.
Yeah. Anyways, so I start talking with her, and da da da. It's like she's like, hey, I'm looking for something like casual, and I'm like, in my head, right? I was like, I want to date, like I want something serious, but then I'm still
Yeah.
open to the possibility of casual, right? I'm like, okay, what does that even mean, first of all? But like, sure. So, um, fuck. So I invited her to the Discord, right? And
Mhm.
I'm in there with my friend, who he like rock climber kind of guy, like I don't know, very like, I guess like I would say normal is my word for him, but like,
Normie.
anyways, she joins, she joins while we're playing video games, and my brain was split because I was like, bro, I have this like two people on different like sides of like kind of existence in the same
Yeah, that
call.
makes sense.
So I was like, I just didn't know what to do. And he asked her, Brett. He was like, he was like, "Do you have a vitamin D deficiency?" And in my head, I was like, I was like, bro, why, like, why would you ask that? And she was like, I actually do. And I was like, oh my gosh, bro, like that. So, anyways, so that happens, and okay, I'm gonna be honest. I thought she was weird, right? Which I like weird, but I thought she was like
Mhm.
too weird.
Yeah.
So I was just like, okay, no, like. Eh.
Mhm.
So then, anyways, she's like texting me later, and she's talking about like this like open mic night like that night, and I'm like, oh, that would be cool. Like, can I come? And she's like, yeah, sure. So then I was like, all right. And then I thought about it, and I was like, wait, I kind of don't want to go like alone, kind of thing. So hit up hit up McKenna, right? I'm like, yo, what are you doing? So he's with his like girlfriend, which I'll have to bring him on because that's a whole nother story as well. But he's with his girlfriend, and I'm like, hey, do you guys want to go to open mic? And they're like, nah, like, and I was like, they're like, we'd rather like chill in and whatever. I was like, okay, so you guys want to come over to my house and just like hang out? And they're like, yeah. So then I go to text the other girl who's going to the open mic thing. I'm like, hey, they're just gonna hang out at my house. Like, come over. Like, da da. Like, you're invited. Like, you're more than welcome. And she's like, oh, I'm already here. And I was like, that's bad. That is bad. So I stood her up, and she didn't hit me back for like 2 hours. She was angry, and I asked her later, and she
Yeah,
told
I'd be upset.
I asked her later, and she told me she was like, yeah, I went and I picked up a friend, and I almost cried, and I was like, I feel terrible. Um, so after those like 2 hours, right? So it was like 6 when that happened. Probably around like 8. She's like, okay, I'm coming over, and I was like, okay, here
Oh,
we
same
go.
day?
Yeah, same day. I was like, okay, here we
Hmm.
go. You know what I mean? Like, I was prepared, like that it was gonna be weird, like that I wasn't gonna like her, and I was just gonna have to be like cordial and everything. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah.
Just based on the Discord, because I was like, it was just odd, right?
Yeah.
But she shows up. She's the finest, most like charismatic, like just like cute like person, and I'm like, oh my god, did I fucking sell this, right? And so she hangs out, and we're all just like talking, hanging out, and everything. And she starts telling me about this like book like that she's writing, and she starts like going into it, but it's like actually thoroughly like interesting, and she's like a good writer, and like she keeps going and going and going and going. I'm like, holy fuck, dude. And then at some point I started like getting like burned out, so I was like, okay, wait, I need like food. So we go up, we get a pizza that's like just sitting in the car, like that I kind of brought, and so we go to eat this pizza, right? And this is so bad, bro. She goes to like feed me this pizza slice, right? And I grab it instead of like taking a bite,
Uh-huh.
and then I realized I was like, oh wait, she was trying to like the. So then I try and like I'm like, hey wait, here, take this slice. I try and like feed her, and then she's like, oh no, I don't want any. I'm like I was just like, dude, I'm leaving like the worst first impression like of all time. Like this is just so bad. And anyways, so yeah, maybe she was doing it to try and make me feel bad, but who knows. Anyways, so my mom wants to go to Ocean City, right?
Hmm.
So I didn't want to leave her like just go alone, right? So I'm like, okay, I can go, and she's like, all right, well, like bring somebody, bring like a friend. So I get my boy Gabe, and I'm like, hey, yo, you trying to? Well, first I was gonna bring a Kenna, but then a Kenna was like, he had to cancel. I'm like, all right, Gabe, you trying to go to Ocean City like tomorrow? He was like, it was like, yeah, sure. I was like, all right, we're leaving at 5 a.m. And he's like, all right, word, come pick me up then. So we take Gabe 5 a.m. Go to Ocean City. We get there at like 8 a.m. Right? There's nothing to do in like Ocean City at 8 a.m. And so we go on the boardwalk, and like there's just like so many just like middle aged or like older people. And he tells me this thing about like he's like, yo, dude, like all the IKEA towels. I was like, what? He was like, yeah, it was on and like this is this whole other thing which I don't even want to get into, but it's like he was talking about this Tate clip. You know who Tate is?
Andrew Tate?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So he's talking about this Tate clip where Tate's describing like just like the middle aged dad who like he's in IKEA and his wife comes over and he's like, honey, which towel do you think would go well in the bathroom? He just does not care. He's so like depressed. And so Gabe's like, dude, look at all these IKEA towel dads out here at Ocean City at like 8 a.m. And fucking um yeah, anyway, so then we go back. I'm like, I'm so thirsty. Like, can we get like a frozen lemonade? Like that would taste so good, right? So then we drive like from like 20th Street all the way up to like 120th, like, and we cannot find a single shop that like sells like frozen lemonade. And we're like, dude, what the is like going on, right? Like, there was one that sold like juice for like $9, and we're like, hell no, like, So, anyways, we end up at this sex shop, right?
Okay.
And
As one does when they're looking for frozen
right, so we
lemonade.
go in, and we're like dicking around or whatever, and we talked to the lady at the. I started the conversation with the lady at the counter, because she seemed like a little bit older than us, and she's from Thailand, and we start asking her. She's like, we're like, how did you get? She tells us her story, her life story about how she like, came over like with like her family, how she got kind of like stuck here, and like we're like, why did you choose Ocean City? And she was like, yeah, I could choose like California or Ocean City. I chose Ocean City for some reason.
Oh my
And
god.
I was like, dude, I cannot believe this. So, anyway, so she's like stuck there. She works like 12-hour days, and she just lives there. And it's like super slow. Like I was like, does anyone buy anything from like here? And she's like, no. Like most people just come in, look around, and then walk out. And I was like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? So, anyways, so we talked with her, and that was pretty cool. But yeah. After that, then we go and like it's like middle of the day. We go to the library, right? And I'm trying not to think about this girl, right? And I'm like, okay. So we're in the library. I'm laying on the floor, like in the upper, like, so there's two levels. I go to the upper level, and there's like a little corner with a little carpet, you know? So I'm laying on the floor,
Mhm.
and I go to my favorite site, Z Library, not sponsored. And I find, well, first I look up romance books, right? Or whatever, like, but like self help, like psychology stuff.
Yeah.
And I always pick the ones with the titles that look like they're going to give me some real good information. And I found this one like obsession, romance, and like relationship dependency, right? And so I get it off Z Library, get the PDF, and I'm reading it, and it's like out listing like everything that I'm doing. It's like, you romanticize like the person, you create an idea of them in your head, you go through things like
Mhm.
quickly, like everything like that. I'm like, holy shit. So I'm like, this is me. So I'm like reading through, I'm like, all right, how do I fix it? And in that book, it's super helpful. It has like suggestions and stuff, and it like explains it and everything. And I'm like, oh my gosh, dude. So, then I'm like, okay, I need to focus on like, this vacation, like my time with my friend and my mom and stuff, right? And for the end of that day, it was pretty like I was still like depressed and sad and whatever. And it was just right? And then Gabe and I we started talking. We're sitting out on the balcony like in our hotel, and we're just looking at the sea. And we start talking, and we go infinite mode. And there's only a couple people that I've gone infinite mode with. I would say it's Gabe, the other Alex, and maybe Akenna, but I don't know.
The fuck is? What are you talking about?
You don't
What
know
does
what
that mean?
infinite mode is?
No.
All right, you'll get there at some point. But anyways, so
Okay.
we're just talking about like we're talking about like like the situation going on, like our feeling, like everything like that, right? And
Yeah.
anyways, so we go to sleep, wake up, new day, and we have a blast. Like we did like an escape room. We walked like the boardwalk. Then at night it was super fun. We did the slingshot like ride, that thing.
Mhm.
Okay, but the funnest part was like we were waiting in the line. It was a huge line, and we were just dicking around. We're doing like literally whatever we could to stay like entertained. And then we skate back to the town like at night, right?
Mhm.
And um, as we're skating back through the town, right, we go to this like it's like 7-Eleven like corner store kind of thing, and it looks really cool. And we're like, yo, let's take pictures. Like, like I was like, dude, I can make these look like film. It would be sick. So I take the pictures and everything of him standing outside like with a skateboard and whatever. And we go in, and as we're like walking through, I'm like recording because I'm like, yo, I can make a TikTok like out of this kind of thing. I was just like, it's cool.
Yeah.
So then we round the corner, and as I'm recording, like I pass by these like machines, and I pause and I go back, and I'm like, Gabe, and it's the frozen lemonade like machines, and I was like, oh my god, we found it, dude. Like, and he's like, yo, no way. Like, and we get our frozen lemonade. It's like $4, bro, for like the both of them. And I was like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, that's, what I mean, $9 for juke, bro. Four for like two, and it's so good. So, um, yeah, we did that, and we ate our frozen lemonade, and we were like, man, like, this is how life is, like things come back around. Like you forget about, you gotta like not focus on something for it to like come back to you, kind of thing. But like
Mhm.
genuinely, like go do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I need to do this with like some bitches. Like I need to forget about the bitches, man. If you forget about the bitches come back. You know what I mean?
I don't. Okay, keep going. Yeah.
So anyway, well, yeah, yeah. Let me hold that thought. All right.
Okay.
So so anyways, like Ocean City's cool. We leave, we come back, right? And then at that point, I was like, all right, I need to text this girl. So I text her. I'm like, hey, like, why'd you stop talking to me? Like, are we cool? Like, I thought, like, da da da. Like, I don't know. And she was like, oh, well, I wasn't talking to you because I thought you didn't like me. And I was like, are you kidding? Like, like, bro, like, no, like, I'm definitely interested. And
Mhm.
and then we talked that out, and it was okay, right? But then, like, next day, I try and hit her up, and it's like nothing again. So I'm like, okay, she's not responding, so I just won't say anything. So I go hang out with Akenna, forget. But then I come back, and I'm like, you know what? All right, hey, I thought we talked things out. Like, I don't know, is it something like up? Like, you're still mad at me for like standing you up, kind of thing. And she's like, well, yeah. but I'm like in love with my ex, so we can only be friends. And I was like, okay, like
Yeah.
that's kind of wild. And this girl got back together with her ex, so I'm like, all right.
Oh,
So
she did?
yeah,
Okay.
so yeah, so now we're just friends, and I'm like just here existing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And this is when girl number one, I'm like, oh, and this is what I was doing today. So I've been working on this. I've been given this good opportunity from a company,
Mm-hmm.
and he is like, yeah, we need like somebody to make like an ad. Like, I was showing him like my motion graphics stuff that I do. He was like, I need someone to make like an ad. Like, would you want to do it? And like, I'll pay you for it. And I was like, dude, yeah, you know. And he's a really great guy. I go infinite mode with him. Like, I really like talking with him.
What the fuck does that mean?
Anyways, so I'm making this advertisement for him, and I'm like freaking out because I'm like, dude, I'm getting paid for this. Like, it needs to be like insane. And the first idea I had like fell through, so I was like, dude, I have to make more things, like different things. And I was like super stressed out with that, super stressed out with editing STDs, and I was just like overwhelmed, actually, right?
Uh-huh.
So I'm like, all right, I need to not work. So I go away from my desk and I look at all my books around me, and all my books are like about like work, self-esteem, movies, improvement, everything, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, bro, like, okay, I can't be in my house, you know. So so I go out of my house, right, and I'm like, okay, I can drive to the Target because I need to pick up like shirts and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can see my friend who works there, or I can go and, like, I don't know. I have first girl's roommates shorts.
Wait, her what?
I have first girl's roommates shorts because I borrowed them.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, you know what? I could go return these shorts. So I'm like, I'm trying to like outwit myself. Like I'm like, what do I really want? Like, if I go to the Target, am I like denying myself, or like should I not go to the Target? Should I go to like her house? Like, I'm like going crazy.
Yeah.
And so I go to her house, and I find her roommate like outside, and I give them the shorts, and they're like, yeah, like she's in there like right now. You go in there. I'm like, okay. So I go in, and I find her just like asleep in her room, and it's like ice cold, and she like wakes up, and I'm like, yo, just like, hey, da, 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 whatever. And so we talk a little bit, and I'm like, what have you been like doing? Like, whatever. It's just pretty chill now. And we end up hanging out for the next like 4 days, pretty much. So day
Mm-hmm.
one, we just sat there and we just watched movies, right? Um, like day two, we're gonna go roller skating, which is when we texted you, and then we ended up not, and just still staying in watching Kitchen Nightmares. Like,
Mm-hmm.
dude, I shit you not, we watched like 5 movies. And we watched like probably like 5 6 hours of Kitchen Nightmares, and just hanging out. And it was fantastic though because like I was literally doing nothing, and I was like, dude, people don't work all the time, and they do nothing some days,
Yeah.
and that blew my mind. And I was like, yo, all
I
right,
fucking hate that feeling.
what?
Doing nothing.
No, 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 no. See, I was like you, right? But then I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I learned to enjoy it. It was necessary. It was fantastic.
Well, I see with you, you probably didn't even break.
Yeah. So, anyways, we cooked some chicken Alfredo. It was pretty good. We went to a diner and got food, and so she paid for the first diner when like we were arguing, and I was like, all right, I'll get her back. So I got her food, everything. I got her the stuff for the chicken Alfredo as well, and where I was like, all right, we're even. She was like, yeah, we're even. I'm like, all right, bet. So we're cool, and then the like lover boy guy, like he comes back, and like we're talking, and like he's chill with me, like we're having a good time, we're all just hanging out, existing. and then we helped like clean up her house and stuff, and that's pretty much it. And then I was like, I was gonna leave, but then I stayed an extra night, and I got to meet her mom, and her mom is a very fantastic, interesting person as well, and just seeing those two interact was funny. And her mom also like liked me. She was like, "Yeah, you got like a good friend here." Like that. I was like, "Yeah, thank you."
Mhm.
So, um, yeah, that was cool. And then I left that day. I came back. Kenna and I made our chicken parmesans. We brought them to a reunion for the like gym members of the parkour gym. Like everybody that went to it, we Alex threw a big reunion. It was fantastic. Yeah, that was just a great day of just again not doing nothing but like just doing things that were fun. You know, hanging out with people and enjoying life. Um, so yeah, that was pretty sick. It was just like 4 or 5 days where I did like nothing, and I was like, boom.
And everyone caught up.
Kind of. So, um, I think so. But yeah, I was working on when you called me, I was working on this advertisement still, and
Mhm.
that's what I was gonna tell you about. I was gonna tell you about hanging out at her house, but then I was like, okay, I need to tell you about the first time like meeting her and everything, and then I was like, okay, I can throw in the Ocean City thing because it kind of relates, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so the first like big story with girl number one, um, was the thing that STDs was based on, and I told Indy like, you know, about all that, and that was the motivation for all that. Oh, there's some more stuff in there, but this is also kind of why I was more angry, and this will make sense. Okay,
Mhm.
so girl number one, before like diner fight, there's one day where, and like I said, this was in the middle of the semester, so like I'm playing like basketball like in the gym, like after class, right? I'm about to go home or something, and she calls me and she's like crying and everything. She's like, "I'm so sorry," like da da da. And I'm like, "Okay, what is it?" Right? Like, cause it was on my mind, and boom, chlamydia, and I was like, okay. So I'm like, she's freaking out and everything. I'm like, it's fine. Like
Yeah.
it's not terrible. It's treatable. So just let's do what we gotta do. You know.
Mhm.
So I hang up. I run out of that gym. I picked up my stuff. And I was straight running back to my car, and like I ran past people. I was running with a book bag on. Whatever, embarrassing. Like people were like, "Yo, like, slow down." Like, like trolling me or what. I was like, "Fuck you, fucking bitch." Fuck that girl. Whoever that was, fuck you. You suck. So, anyways,
I was that girl.
so I get in my car. I head up the patient first, right? And they're like, all right, take this. Like, they're like, your white blood cell count looks like normal, but take this pill. And so I took a pill, and I had to take it for like 2 weeks, for like every 12 hours. So it was like 10 a.m., 10 p.m. for like 2 weeks, right? And that was that is the finishing. But that's why I was also like sus of like what she was doing with these other guys and stuff, because like as
Yeah,
well I was
but
just like,
it's that's definitely if you're not like exclusive with someone, and even if you are exclusive with someone, that's stressful.
right,
Like I know what I'm doing, but I don't know what everyone else is doing.
right,
So that's why the whole no, I'd be stressed too.
exactly. So fuck anybody that was like, um this includes my dad. Like, I love you, dad, love you, mom, but like people that I've showed this to, like out of our generation, they were like, fuck this idea. They were like, oh, this is like bad subject matter. You know what I mean? I was like, this is great subject matter. Like, you know what I
It
mean?
definitely
Like,
is.
right? It's so good, and that's the reason why I wanted to make it. One, because, and this was funny. I won't say who, but someone like on our set, I sent them the script, and they asked me, they're like, maybe you should send this to somebody who has experience with this, so they could like, like you could see if it's realistic, or like they could make sure it's appropriate. And I was like, me, like, like, um, so yeah, I was like, I can write this like it's fine. You know what I mean? Like I want to write this
Yeah.
like. And then, yeah, it came to fruition, which I'm very happy about how it turned out, considering all the chaos that happened that night.
I'm excited to see it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty solid, dude. And it's like 3 minutes 30 seconds right now, so it's I feel like it's good for a short film. You know what I mean? It's like to the point. It'll hopefully get people thinking. Um, I really, really wish, and I hope this podcast comes out after it because I'm gonna spoil something here. Can I tell you this?
Yeah.
Okay, so right now I'm advertising it as the title is STDs, but what I'm gonna do is in the end, at the end of the movie, it's gonna go from STDs and expand outwards into standards.
Yeah. No, that's sick.
Okay, and but what like, and the original idea for it was to shoot it twice and to shoot it one with the girl like having a negative test result, so it's all right, but then one with the guy driving and being in her position, but he gets a positive test result, and then the other girl, like this time the girl gets really mad like at him still, but like because he didn't get tested earlier, stuff like that, right? So I just wanted to flip those and just like changing it girl and guy because I think the stereotypes there can be interesting to think about, and switching that as well and then calling it standards, I was like that would be fantastic, like societal standards, personal standards, and then also STDs, right? So I was like that would be phenomenal, like to shoot it twice. We didn't have enough time, and I would love to go back and just like reshoot something.
Yeah.
But like it just seems like it's gonna be hard to get everybody together in the same spot again.
Yeah. I mean, there's possible now that everyone's back in the area, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But also we've got other projects going on.
Right, like
and
I feel like
think
it's
what
like
we have right now is solid.
right. I feel like it's just like move on. It's just like
Yeah.
But yeah.
Damn, man. So wait, where are you with that girl now?
She sends me a bunch of memes now. You know how I spam people like posts?
Yeah.
Okay, so when I do it, because I think like either I do it for different reasons. One, I'm like, okay, this relates to this person, it can help them. One, it related to me, it helped me. Two, maybe it's just funny. Three, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And she's been sending me a bunch of posts, so I'm like, oh my god, my love language, like, and then I'm like, all right, wait, cool it. Like, she's just sending it as a friend. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think it's good that you recognize that and also recognize that you should be pursuing other people and kind of like give up on her, but still, have her as a friend. You know what I mean?
Precisely. So.
That's really good.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm saying, just don't hold out hope. I guess my fear is that one day she's gonna, try something again and then rope you back in, which I don't think you need.
Right.
But you know her better than I do, so do you.
Right. Yeah. But that's where we're at. Okay, what was that thing you were holding that you were gonna chime in about, like Tate?
Tate?
Yeah, the IKEA towel. Oh no, the thing it was about getting bitches.
Oh. Well, I didn't say so when I do that sort of thing with people, like quality time sort of thing.
Yeah.
You kind of seem similar to me, where it's like when you spend time with someone, you start to imagine like a future with them. So I think you should just do it with your friends, unless you really like. I feel like if you did it with bitches, that'd be a distraction, and then you just like fall in love with another girl.
Wait, what? What do you mean?
I'm speaking about myself more so, I guess. Like if you do it with a girl, you want to do it again with a girl, and then if the girls you go for seem to be emotionally unavailable, I feel like you're just setting yourself up for failure.
Right.
But
so you're saying the solution is to like romanticize over your friends.
I think you should do it with your friends instead of trying to. I don't know how to describe it. I have like a really pessimistic view on like relationships right now. Just because of like all the like the shit that I've had to go through the past year. So right now I'm like, dude, dating's not even worth it until you're like 25, because everyone's lives are gonna be at different stages anyway. Like there's like, you know, I don't know how to describe it.
And okay, peek this then. So I was talking with my therapist, right, about because I update him on this chaos, as it's happening like every month or so, right? And he was like, when I brought up the second girl who wanted to like casually like date, right? We were talking about it, and we came to this like idea where he was like, like, and I've done this before where I would be at the gym like every day of the week pretty much, right? And now I'm like no days of the week, you know? And then, I was like full on relationship, like going all the way like thing. And now I'm like, no. And he's like, you seem to kind of have a problem with being in the middle, you know? And I was like, you know what? You're kind of right. It's like a good insight. And then I started working it out myself, and I was like, that does make sense. You don't need to hit the gym like so many days of the week. You need to just have like 3 solid ones, that you can fit into your schedule and like maintain, right? And so then that's when I was like, you know what? Casually dating somebody doesn't seem like the worst idea, because it's just like there's, not as, it's like what you can handle. You know what I mean? Like, and I was like, that might be a good step to just be able to not like fly into a future with somebody, but also to, still like keep dating, testing the waters, figuring out what you like, kind of thing. So I was like, all right, that's not.
No, I think that's good, especially for our age group too.
Right, like you said, yeah.
Everyone, like, no one knows where they're gonna be, what they're gonna do, and like, I feel like at least like when I was like going to college, like I was in like a high school relationship all 4 years, and then obviously it didn't like cement my decision, but it definitely influenced it on like where I was gonna go to college, because he was in the area. And so I'm thinking back, like, fuck, if I just like broke up with him, didn't even think about that, I would be somewhere completely different. Like, where would my life be? I probably wouldn't be in Towson.
Have you seen?
I mean, maybe, I don't know.
Have you seen Everything Everywhere All at Once?
I have not seen it yet.
I'm gonna recommend you that movie. We're gonna do a movie recommendation every podcast.
Okay.
Just because.
I do need to see it.
So yeah, that is I would give it my favorite movie right now. I would say, like, when I first saw it in theaters, dude, I cried so hard.
Really?
Yeah. And I watched it again.
Can I throw another movie recommendation?
Yeah. What's your rec? Is it for me or is it for people in general?
It's for you. But
Beautiful.
Mr. Nobody.
Mr. Nobody. I haven't seen it. I'm very excited. Don't tell me anything about it.
I won't tell anything about it.
Thank you.
But can I say one thing about it?
No, don't tell me anything.
Okay. All right.
Literally, don't give me anything. I will just go watch it.
Okay. All right. Tell me what you think after you watch it.
Okay. But yeah, I said this about, and this isn't a spoiler or anything, but I was like, if there's one movie that like as a director I could have like under my belt that like I made, it would be Everything Everywhere All at Once.
That good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I actually have I have an ode to it right here. I'm looking at it. When we went to Ocean City, right? As we were leaving, we were just like on a random like cool little spot that was looking nice, and we are like, yeah, we should take a souvenir. And then Gabe was like, yeah, let's take this rock, because there were a bunch of rocks on the ground. So we each picked a rock. Him, me, and my mom. We all picked a rock. So I have 2 rocks here, and you'll get it later. But yeah.
Okay. All right. There's this theater here. It looked really cool. It was like an underground theater, and they're still playing Everything Everywhere at Once.
Bruh.
And they're playing Oh Boy. They're playing that one thing you recommended to me about like the lava or whatever.
About what?
They're playing that. The fucking Nat Geo volcano thing.
What?
You know what I'm talking about.
No, I don't. Nat Geo volcano?
Yes, you did. You sent me a link to it. You said they were playing it at the Senator.
The Northman.
No. I'll find you the post you sent me.
Okay.
Because no one else sends me shit like that.
So funny, bro.
I'll show you.
I'd be flying through posts. I don't even read them, bro. Like, I'll look at it. I'll be like, I'll be like, this relates to Sam. Boom, send it. Like, so.
Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I look. I'm like, how the fuck?
Okay, you gotta let me know. That would be funny, bro. You gotta let me know which ones you don't like relate.
Next time it happens, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's cool here.
Swag. All right, we have been on the phone for an hour and 18. So hopefully this podcast is shorter than that, but if not, you know what I really wanted to do, and it's what I'm doing right now, is I wanted a podcast that was almost kind of filmy. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get B-roll of like all the other stuff going on right now, and because I think it's important. You know, you see a podcast, you see two dudes sitting at like a setup. I have my setup here, but it's not finished, right? So I'm like, dude, when are we gonna get this out? I'm just gonna make it. And I've always had this mixed like media idea where I'm like, all right, you know what? We're gonna do podcasts, but I'm going to just get video from different angles so people can look at that stuff throughout the video and just like, have something to look at, but also relates. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Because, you said podcasts, so when I watch podcasts, I don't watch them. I listen to them.
Right.
Yeah. But I guess some people do, or at least they'll like kind of glance over at it. So I think that's, it's a good thing.
Right. And also when I'm moving the camera setups, now that I'm thinking about it, that's a great break because we listen to things. I don't listen to a full podcast and be all the way engaged. If you want people to be like all the way engaged, you give them breaks. And that's another thing, bro. Let me go into the science. All right, I'm gonna do it right quick. I watched this one YouTube video, which I'm pretty sure a lot of people have seen. But it's this guy talking about like how we study. And he's just saying, like, honestly, we actually study focused for, like, 45 minutes. People vary, but, like, then you need to take a break and do nothing or do something fun, right? Like, and recuperate. And it's the same thing with the Pomodoro technique, like the timer. Like, people, they work 45, take a 5-minute, go do something fun. And I think that's kind of what was missing a little bit, like, from the short film and from my work like routine, which is why I downloaded Clash Royale. I downloaded Alpaca Evolution. I downloaded Asphalt 8. And I was playing these games at her house, by the way. I started just gaming. I was like, dude, you know what? I'm going to sit here. I'm going to game on my phone. Like, how many games do I have? What's on the App Store? You know what I mean? So I went back to basics. And, dude, I have so many t-shirt ideas, bro. Like, I could, like, bro, like, I literally have a note like list of t-shirt ideas, like back to basics, right? Boom, put on a shirt. Like, dudes just do that. Like that man Cole Bennett, like he has like, I'm directing a video cap, like, and it's sick. Cole Bennett's like he seems like a genuine like awesome dude, and like, like anything like that you say, like I'm sure there was things in this podcast like, yo, that was kind of sick, right? Boom, slap it on a fucking t-shirt, make a graphic for it. And then people will rock that, and it's like, hey, where'd you get that from? Like, it looks cool, right? And they're like, oh yeah, it's actually from a podcast, right? And then boom, now I got a clothing like.
Yeah.
Anyways.
No, you're right. I do love that you always try to make everything into content.
Thank you.
Everything is content.
Everything is content.
Slap that on a t-shirt.
Nah, and all right, you know what? You know what's going on the t-shirt? I'm gonna say this to you, and I'm gonna say it for the t-shirt. We're approaching infinite mode.
I don't know what that means.
All right, thank you, Sam, for being on the podcast. Very much appreciate your presence.
You're welcome. I had a good time.